Right now, we have Wayne Ledoux with us today. How are you doing, Wayne?
Good, good. How are you, Gabby?
I am good and so excited to hear more about Mayhem Digital Media. So I want to first, our listeners I know definitely want to hear more about you and your journey. So if you just go ahead and first tell us, of course, what it is your company does, but also maybe 2 to 3 milestones that happen in order to get to where you are today.
Oh man. Okay. Well, as far as Mayhem Digital Media goes, we've been around for officially about a year and a half, but I got out on my own in 2016.
Okay.
So what we did and what we do now is we actually provide done for you marketing and lead generation services to include Facebook and YouTube ads, funnel building, and back end automations to help convert those leads for online coaches. And we also work as a white label delivery partner for other digital agencies that maybe do SEO or do blogging or website development or app development, something like that, but they don't know how to do their social ads.
Mm.
Those are the two verticals that we serve drastically. But that all started just simply because of COVID. I've been in this space, lead generation and high ticket services for, man, 12 years, 13,
Okay.
well, 13. I started in 2008. Started off doing real estate agents, and obviously they sell high ticket homes and things like that out here in California. So did that for a few years, moved into the solar industry, which is how I got out and away from being an employee, and started working for myself. But we were under a different brand back then. Because of COVID, back when COVID happened, solar wasn't at first deemed an essential service, quote unquote. So the first couple months they all freaked out, and as a direct result, we had to make a shift.
Right.
And the name Mayhem Digital Media became just simply because, well, there was a lot of mayhem going on at the time.
Right.
And, obviously if you can shift and make a pivot and continue to bring in a six-figure per month revenue as an agency, then I feel like there's a lot of value I can bring to online coaches and other agencies that have experienced some mayhem in the past year themselves.
Right. And so what would you say were some of those pivots that you all had to make and obviously kind of quickly in order to still have that revenue?
Yeah, well, a few things happened. Is number one is because I've actually sold solar myself, and I've done it via the internet, not just by door knocking and things like that. I did save a lot of the core clients that were trying to figure out how to do it just by coming in and teaching them how to get an inside sales company involved and pay them on a commission basis, integrate Zoom, and help integrate the tools and things like that needed to be done and how they help solar currently. But it actually kind of happened randomly. It was kind of two stages. Is number one is I helped at the time a guy that was in the fitness space
Okay.
take his local business, his local gym, and turn it into an online program.
Mm.
And he did really, really well. And he referred me to one of my current clients who deals in the relationship space. And he helps men that their marriage is, on the rocks. And I started working with him, and within 60 days of working with him, we ended up taking his ad spend from about a 1 to 1.5x to a 4x.
Wow.
Yeah. And it happened over a 60-day period. We've got a special method with, like $1 a day and running a digital newspaper and all that stuff that works really, really well. And at the end of the day, what ended up happening was because he had such good success, we turned that into a case study. He's referred me to a couple other people as well. And that's kind of how we ended. It was, like I said, it was a little bit of mayhem that caused all this
Right.
stuff, but it just, those pivots and being able to think quickly and being able to, leaning on the 12 plus years of experience that I have in the space was really kind of
Right.
what made me realize that it just takes a lot of quick action and a lot of quick thinking, but relying on your intuition is something that I literally just posted about yesterday. Just, there's a reason that you have that intuition, and so many people
Mm-hmm.
get, backed up into the, oh, how do I do what I need to do and all this stuff. Just do something. And imperfect action is better than perfect inaction, is what I always say.
Right. And that kind of goes into one of my questions as far as what would you say then is the advantage of the fact that you can work with so many different people from different industries? Like you said, it was someone with fitness and now it was someone with relationships on the rocks of their marriages. What advantage has that given you, especially to pivot in a time like this?
It's just, you know what, that my dad always said, because I talk a lot, if you can't tell.
Which is good for the podcast, so it's okay.
He always said, hey, you know, Wayne, you got two ears and one mouth. It's for a reason. Use them proportionally. And I say that because it's ironic, because I used to get in trouble for talking so much. Now I get paid to do it. But the
Right.
reason that I'm able to kind of blend the two well together is because I listen more than I actually talk.
Hmm.
And that's what a lot of digital marketers aren't doing, is they're taking the information that they get on their discovery calls with their potential clients, or even the clients that they're serving, and they're like, okay, well, what method can I try to,
Hmm.
get these guys immediate leads? And they always go for, buy my shiny stuff, buy my shiny stuff, buy my shiny stuff. And what a lot of people aren't doing is they're not taking the overall message of their clients and then creating content on it, and then
Hmm.
running that content to their client or their own target audience. And if you take the time to run a lot of content and then look at the data, you'll see, just based off of the tools within Facebook and YouTube, uh, how what content is resonating and what content's not.
Right.
And then, you go in and you take the content that's resonating and you post 10 articles every week, about who or what or why. And then you post a few, less on every week about how.
Hmm.
And then lead them to the decision that you're the actual expert. And that actually creates higher quality leads at a lower cost than anything else.
Hmm.
And it all starts with listening to what the client needs and really connecting with their voice, because they're going to be a better advertiser for what they're trying to do than you ever will.
Right.
That's why they do what you do. It's your job to take that voice and that
Mhm.
message and turn it into something, and to display it with the right people at the right time. And that's what most people aren't doing.
Absolutely. And so, as far as, like you said, listening to your clients, do you also carry that as far as listening to your employees and their needs and maybe how to make the business better? Would you say that you translate over to that side
That's
as well?
yeah. I'd say that that's actually harder than the clients.
Right.
I started when I left my last actual W-2 job.
Hmm.
I scaled to six figures in less than 8 months,
Okay.
and I did it by myself. My wife was taking care of the kid at the time. He was one. Um, I had like all the experience that I needed, and so I
Hmm.
didn't need to outsource anything. And thanks to technology, building a landing page takes less than 24 hours these days. And um, I got why I'm not where I should have been is two things. Number one is I got cocky. I was like,
Okay.
okay, well, I don't need a team. I don't need
Mhm.
anybody. And that's all fine and good when you've got less than 10 clients. But at the peak, we were doing, I think we had 17 client accounts,
Wow. Okay.
and I was managing all myself. And
Wow.
well, that ended poorly, but that's a whole nother story. But now that I brought on a team, it's hard to the hardest part about it is realizing that everybody has a different learning style and adapting what you're teaching
Mm-hmm.
to their learning style. Like, for example, the first person I ever brought into the business was my wife.
Okay.
So she handles a lot of the back end stuff, like the billing and the reporting and all that stuff now. But she's a very, very analytical learner.
Mm.
Whereas the sales guy that I have under me, he said, hey, you know what? I've got the idea of sales. Just tell me what you do. Give me your sheet and I'll go. And I'm going to learn by doing.
Okay.
And so that's one of the hardest parts about being able to listen to your employees, is that they're here to help you. And what I didn't realize back when I got cocky was that not everybody's going to learn the same way as I do. So
Yeah.
as a few things that I did is I learned how to read. I learned from like books and things like that. Like the Sales Acceleration Formula is a great book on how to teach people how to pitch anything. We've got delivering and measuring on customer service. That's another good one that we read as well. So just always keep learning in regards to that, because that is a lot more difficult than taking what your client tells you and then being able to project their voice to the right person at the right time. I'll say that just from personal experience.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things I've learned as well. And I feel like a lot of business leaders don't talk about that, is like people really receive information differently. They learn differently. They do things differently. And once you can kind of somewhat master that, it makes things a lot easier rather than just sticking in your own head, like, well, this is what works for me, so it should work for everybody else.
That's the understatement of the week so far.
Right.
It is only Monday though, so
In the first full week of 2021. So yes, hopefully we can carry that the rest of this week.
right.
So then with that, with all that you have learned and your whole journey, where is your vision for yourself and for your company in the next 3 to 5 years?
uh, um, honestly, like I think that if I can get to 10 employees, then we can scale this thing to
Mm,
7 figures plus.
wow.
Um, I always feel like that I need to be the marketing message and the voice of the company.
Hmm.
So I think that that's where I'm going to stay. I'm going to continue in regards to my own role. But as far as like taking sales calls and things like that, having 3 or 4 sales reps and then somebody to produce video, because video content is going to be huge moving forward.
Hmm.
Having somebody to produce video content, and then people, another person to onboard, and another 2 or 3 client customer service representatives, that would be ideal. um I don't know that, especially considering COVID, I don't know that having an actual office is something that's going to be
Mm,
necessarily even
worth it in a way.
worth it. I
Hmm.
mean, we've already, there's, been billion-dollar companies, billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar companies that have moved the majority of their operations to remote, and
Remote. Hmm.
still, recorded a lot of record-breaking years so far. So, I don't really see a reason, especially with technology, to necessarily even have an office.
Okay.
But that being said, though, is that I'm still learning and I'm still growing. And now that we've recovered the lost revenue from the local marketing business game and put that all into online companies and other digital marketing agencies, we're seeing a lot better growth, and I feel like it's a lot more insulated than it was before. So that's something that we learned through this whole ordeal that everybody's gone through.
Wonderful. More and more learning. And so please tell us also about this 14-day free trial your company is offering.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I know that the pandemic has really, really got people nervous about advertising, but
Mhm.
the fact of the matter is that that's kind of your only choice if you're looking to grow in 2021 and beyond.
Right.
And so what we're doing is we're minimizing the risk of actually giving of you guys paying like a long-term contract or locking you guys into something that's committed. We will run your ads for 14 days,
Mhm.
and we guarantee that you will generate leads within that first 14 days of running ads. Depending on like what your ad budget is and what your target clientele is. We're seeing lead costs, anywhere between $5 to $25 a lead, depending on
Mhm.
what your particular niche is. And I'll tell you that the guy that I'm working with right now, or the 2 guys that I'm working with right now on their new coaching programs that just started their new campaigns, one in November and one in December, have already made more than 4x their ad spend.
Wow. So therefore it is worth it to
Yeah,
take this
so
opportunity.
we're taking the risk out of it. We'll run your ads for 14 days. We guarantee leads within those 14 days of the ads starting to generate traffic and results. And if you don't feel like we've made progress in those 14 days, then all you do is you pay the ad spend, you walk away, and you've at least got data on your pixel that you can use wherever else it is that you go. That being said, though, is that even though this is a new program that we're running, we haven't had anybody walk away after that 14-day trial, and it's continued to convert. So we're really, really confident in those programs, and have no qualms in showing you guys
Mhm.
some case studies and some data in regards to past result lead costs and things like that. So if you guys want to hop on a call with us, then by all means, feel free. Go to mayhemdigitalmedia.com. There's a schedule appointment button right on the front page. You can schedule an appointment with me or one of my team, and we'll be happy to find out what your goals are and see what we can do to move you forward 2021 and beyond.
Perfect. Well, you ran right into my next thing, which is for any of our listeners who are wondering where they should go for that information. So that's perfect and sounds like an amazing opportunity. Are there any other platforms that our listeners should go to for more information about your company or even just to connect with you?
Yeah, obviously we've got a YouTube channel, so you can check us out at youtube.com/mayhem
Mhm.
digital media. You can also look us up on Facebook. We're having some issues merging our Facebook page from our previous brand. So you can either check
Mm.
us out on facebook.com/mayhem digital media, or the original company name was Ledoux, which is spelled Ledous Enterprises. that's where we started, and you'll see a lot of good reviews and a lot of good content that we put out on a daily and weekly basis. So check us out at either one of those spots. Facebook just doesn't like the fact that the two names are very, very different from each other. So
Giving you some problems, I can imagine.
yeah.
Well, Wayne
But
Ledoux,
other than that,
yes.
yeah, good times.
No, it's been great. And thank you so much for your time, Wayne Ledoux of Mayhem Digital Media. Thank you so much for all of that and also teaching us just to always learn. And also, listeners, definitely take up that opportunity with that 14-day free trial. So thank you, Wayne.
Thank you, Gabby.